You said there were some changes to it, and maybe some more raw.
A few tips that I've learned in my life that I'm going to share. Yeah, and more raw. Yeah. So there's different levels. Right. Yeah. So that leads me into the program. So again, thank you for coming. This is exciting for me because I get to watch you transform. So the program is in front of us, and what I want to do is I want to point out the most important parts and teach you some things that are not in your manual. But if you go home and read this manual, which I really encourage you to do, you will have all the information you need to succeed in 28 days, okay? So let's actually open it together. And it is a new manual, so I do want you to have a new one, Shannon. Okay? Okay, fair enough. Sharing it, that's great. So let's open up to page 1, What is Wellness? So it's not actually on page 1, which is a little tricky. Yeah, you'll find it there. So just what I want to just say about this page, but I'm going to let you read it at home, is that wellness, in my opinion, is a continuum. It's not something that we achieve and then we're there. It's a constant practice, a daily practice, to choose what do we put in our mouth, do we exercise, do we get to bed on time, are we drinking enough water? There's a lot of different things within the day that can make us well, or it can take us on the other end of the continuum toward dis-ease. Dis-ease, feeling all the symptoms that we haven't fully shared with each other, but I know all of us are feeling some sort of symptom that is in the dis-ease category, right? So what I love about wellness is that you always have the opportunity to grow and change and become well. It's not that, oh, you've been given this diagnosis and you're stuck in it, or, oh, I feel this way and I'm stuck this way forever. It's not true. We can, with education and support, we can make those changes to start feeling better, okay? So I'm going to let you read about Nutrition 101, just a bit about the basics of nutrition, and then we're going to turn to page 6. So page 6. So this reset program it's also a sense of it's a cleanse or a detoxification. I'm trying to change the words for cleanse. It's less aggressive, but it really is. We're supporting our body to release the toxins, the buildup of toxins in our body that we ingest externally through the food we eat. If it's conventional produce, unfortunately, it's covered in pesticides, which has heavy metals in it. From the paint fumes from our new office we've just painted, or carpet we've just put down, or new car we bought, we're exposed to more toxins this day and age than we've ever been on planet Earth. And those toxins are in us, circulating. They're feeding the viruses, the bacteria, the fungus. They're creating havoc in our brain. They're creating brain fog. They're creating fatigue. They're creating, oh my God, just a lot of different symptoms that a lot of people complain about. So one way to get better is to release those toxins, to release those impurities in your body. And this is what is going to support that. So you have organs that daily detoxify your body, and the liver is the biggest one. So the way we're going to eat is going to support the liver so that it can do its job better. We have overburdened the liver in this day and age, and that's what leads to weight gain. That's what leads to heart disease. That's what leads to high blood pressure. So when we clean up our liver, all of a sudden these symptoms that people come to me for go away, and they don't have to treat the symptoms anymore. So when we can lessen the toxic load going into us and increase the good stuff, right, the fruits and the vegetables, then the body all of a sudden works better, and then the weight falls off. And then we sleep better, and our symptoms go away. And that's truly the way it goes. And it starts with food. It really does. You can exercise all you want, but if you eat food that does not support your well-being, it doesn't matter. It's long gone is the age of calories in, calories out. That's not true. So we need to eat calories from healthy food sources, okay? So that being said, these are the 5 things we're eliminating over the next 28 days, okay? And these things are going to be challenging, and they're going to be your go-tos in emotional times. They're going to be the foods that probably, we stuff our emotions with. Let's face it, right? We eat sugar to feel better. We drink wine to numb out from some pain, or to just get rid of the busy day. And we want to be real with ourselves. So we are going to let go of alcohol for 28 days. Who's okay with that? Good. Who's not okay with that? Okay, I'd like to know. You've done it for 20 days.
I cheated.
Oh, but alcohol, we have caffeine. Who's okay with letting go of caffeine?
I will be.
Awesome. Okay. Who's not okay? I'm going to talk.
I'm going through withdrawal.
Okay. I want to support you through that as well. The withdrawal, that's real. Headaches are real. Sugar, processed sugar. So sugar, processed sugar is really different than sugar from fruits, and we're going to talk about that. And then we have dairy. Who's okay with letting go of dairy? And who's not okay? Dairy is usually a big one for some. Okay. So yeah. And dairy can come in a lot of different food sources, right? So we'll talk about how to replace it. And then we have wheat, gluten, all sources of gluten, so not just wheat. But we're okay with letting go of gluten. I think some of you have already started that, I feel, are aware that wheat can bloat and can make you weight gain and inflammation. Yeah? Okay. Yep. All grains that... Yes, you can buy gluten-free stuff. So let's actually go to that page where we start talking about, well, what exactly am I going to replace this with? Okay? Because this is the important part I need you to walk away with after today. Dairy. So page 10, you're going to turn to page 10. And at the top here, we have foods to eliminate, and the first one's dairy. So tell me some of the products that you eat that has dairy in them. Cheese? Okay. And how often are you eating cheese?
Every day.
Every day. Okay.
It's my life. It's my snack.
It's your go-to. Okay. Anyone else? Cheese? Yogurt?
Yeah.
Kefir? Yogurt smoothies. Okay. Kefir. Yeah. We're actually cutting it out this time. These are the updates. There's some updates. I know, I'm sorry about that. What about goat's products? Anyone eating goat's dairy, sheep dairy? That's it.
I've had goat's cheese.
You have goat's cheese. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And salads with beets.
Right. So, if you want to be a purist on this 28 days, we're going to eliminate all dairy from all animals, not just cow. Last one, I said cow dairy, you're fine with goats. But this one, I'm going to crank it up a bit, and we're going to go no dairy at all. And
because looking like at that, you can get goat's cheese.
yes, I know. Isn't that amazing?
Well, I tried that one.
I know.
Okay, but now I can't.
Okay, well, we're gonna. And the reason is that unfortunately, even goats these days are pumped with hormones now, and they're not grass-fed, and they're also maltreated. And not that you have to do it for that reason, but for the toxic reason, that's why I'm asking you to eliminate it. All dairy, no matter what animal it's from, is mucus-forming. And when we have a buildup of mucus in the body, we cannot digest our food properly. When we cannot digest the food properly, we cannot get the nutrients and the energy we need, therefore we can also overeat, right? So if we have poor digestion, the body's always saying, I'm hungry, feed me. You are eating. That food is being turned into fat because it's not being used properly, okay?
Like the dairy-free cheese.
Dairy-free cheese?
Yeah, there's some cheese.
Okay, no, great. These are great questions. So I'm saying no to soy. So these are the add-ons that I'm going to say no to. Okay, so I'm giving you the main 5, but there's also a big list of ones that I would prefer you'd stay away from. You would be hard pressed in this day and age on planet Earth to find soy that's not GMO'd or laced with GMO'd soy. Okay, so it's just not worth it. GMO products we're a human experiment right now. We really are. And GMO is just something, it's just, if you can avoid it, avoid it. Genetically modified organisms. So Earth gave us plants that our bodies recognize, and then man decided to bastardize them and make higher yields for profit. That's what GMO is, okay? Wheat. So the next one on the line is wheat. For who eats bread every day? Who has some toast? Okay, who has a wrap, a sandwich out, Pita Pit, a Subway? No? Oh my gosh. Okay, but in general, right? These are where you're gonna. Okay, good. This is good. So, okay, wheat. These are the obvious places that wheat are in. Wheat is also in not obvious places. Okay, so this is where reading ingredients really matters, and I want you to become ownership of your own health and well-being by starting to look at ingredients lists. We're not going to calorie count anymore. That's not how we get healthy. We look at the ingredients list and we find the ingredients that we can have, and then if we can't have them, we put it back on the shelf. So any sort of gluten, any sort of wheat product that's listed, you're going to put that back, okay? If you need an alternative to bread, in the past I have said go wheat-free bread, so like rice bread, and that's fine, just make sure it doesn't have sugar added. And that's hard to find too, right? Because we're not doing processed sugar. So if you can, there's so many other foods. And look, I'll be the first to admit, I did toast and banana with olive oil every morning. That was my go-to breakfast. And then I switched over to a massive bowl of fruit, and I'm much happier for it. There is a lot of alternatives out there. We don't need toast. It's habit, right? And I'm here to help you break some habits and make some healthier new ones. So if you can break the toast one, even though there are gluten-free options out there, I'd love it if you could just try 28 days without bread, okay?
Also, even if it's gluten-free?
Even if it's gluten-free, I would love that. And if not, then minimize it, right? So if you're used to having it daily, bring it down to 3 times a week. If you're used to having it once a week, maybe try not having it, okay? So wheat. Now, you can have grains. You can have grains, you can have rice, you can have rice pasta, you can have buckwheat, you can have amaranth. These are gluten-free grains that are also made into pastas and breads, like I said. You can have oatmeal. Yeah, you can have oatmeal. If you can get in the Loblaw section, in the organic section, there's actual gluten-free oatmeal. And why this is important, because the other oatmeal, if it doesn't say gluten-free, is made in a factory with gluten, and so it can cross-contaminate. So you can still get the gluten from that, unfortunately. I think it's Mills. It might be something Mills, but it's in the, it's oats, Red Mills. Thank you, that's it, yeah. And it's in the organic section of Loblaws. I just bought it, so you can find it there, okay? My partner loves oatmeal, so he was like, I'm not cutting oatmeal out. So he makes his own, because we started realizing, not oatmeal, sorry, granola. So that was his treat. He'd go to the store and get granola. And then I started becoming more educated on the additives to foods, and what exactly does these additives mean? What are these chemicals? And when I learned, which I want to teach you today, that natural flavoring, so natural vanilla, natural orange, natural anything with the word natural is MSG. There are more products laced with MSG now than there have ever been, because they have learned how to hide it under the word natural flavoring, and it's in almost every organic, healthy product in a health food store. So that MSG, glutamic acid, it goes into your brain and it starts to eat away at brain matter. It's really toxic. It's not something we need at all in our body, let alone a little bit. So I'm the messenger. You can decide what you want to do with this information. But I do find that when I started looking at ingredients, I saw natural flavor in everything. So we decided to make our own granola. So if granola is something you like, I can give you a recipe for homemade granola, okay? So that's wheat. We're on to sugar. Like I said, sugar in natural food form, like vegetables and fruit, totally okay. You can eat an abundance of this, and I encourage it. But not processed, not cane sugar, not even maple syrup. Now I am also going to make an exception for something else. So I've always cut out honey, but I also just learned that raw honey is one of the best antibacterial, antiviral substances that we can eat and enjoy, and one of the highest sources of antioxidants because of all the plants that the bee goes to. So I don't want to cut out things that are good for you, and honey is so sweet to the palate, I don't really think you're going to binge on it. So I'm okay if we have some honey in the diet, but just make sure that you're not going for spoonfuls of it because you're trying to replace something else that you've eaten that's sweet, right? And if that's the case, then you're going to email me and we're going to talk about how to overcome that. Yeah.
26.
What do I do, Katie? Okay, so honey's okay, raw, unpasteurized. You're going to see the word unpasteurized or raw, okay? Not cooked honey, it has to be unpasteurized, or you don't get any of the goodness, and I'd rather you not have it. Yes, Diane?
It said here, replace with dried fruit, but I thought the last time we weren't allowed dried.
Update. Yeah, we got some updates. We got some updates. I'm always learning.